Hello and welcome back to the brosBTalking. We are on to episode 6 of season 1. You're joined by myself, Toby, and my fellow companion, Drifty, the Bobster.
Howdy. How's it
Howdy.
going? Howdy, partner.
How are you, bro?
I am good. I'm good. Just chilling, watching some House of the Dragon, and I cooked Becky a pretty fancy meal tonight, so I'm
What was it, a
proud of
microwave
myself.
meal?
No, I used wine and cream in the pasta sauce and everything. It's great. Salmon.
Ooh! I thought you was about to say, well, no, I drank wine whilst it was in the microwave,
I
so
did.
it's all right.
I did drink some of the wine too. That I can confirm that. How are you doing?
Yeah, no, mate, I'm doing really well, thank you. It's just, when it's like really like cloudy and sort of stormy, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm honestly like a dog. I just get so much energy.
I thought you were going to say you're
it's sort of
scared.
like this weather.
That's fair. It's because you're locked
But
up in the house.
yeah, but even just it's always sort of been like that. Like definitely, like I'm playing sport or something. It starts to rain. I'm like boom, and like definitely when it's just before a storm, like it is. Your emotions are just heightened. Like not great if you're not having a good day. I will admit. If you're not having a good day and you have that, it's going to be a bit of a disaster. But if you're having a good day, and it's just like yes, I don't know. It's just like a build up of like tension, isn't it?
You feel the energy in the atmosphere. It is quite cool. It is quite atmospheric
Do you
to be
know?
running around outside.
Talking about the atmosphere, I don't know if this has been going around loads on the internet recently. So apparently there was a whole thing of scientists have now confirmed that some people can smell the rain. Right now, my biggest question is why have we got to 2024 and we've only just answered that? I could have answered you that in year 6.
Yeah, I've always been able to smell the rain as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm the same. Like, and it's one of those things that people can't do it. They're a bit like, well, you're chatting shit, and it's like it's sort of hard. It's hard to explain, and like, but also at the same time, I feel like saying to people, well, if you're ever not sure and you feel like it might smell like rain, looking up usually gives you a good indication.
The
Do
clouds.
you know what I mean? Like, you look up, it's clear blue skies. Maybe your senses are wrong, but even then, it can still rain. But if you're having that feeling, you look up and there's a massive grey sky, and like your head's felt hot all day, then yeah, you're probably right. It's probably going to rain. It's probably going to rain for a while.
Yeah, yeah. I always thought it was rain on like asphalt or on the pavement and stuff that made the smell. That's what I thought it was. But
I
it
always
was rain.
thought it was from it sounds so weird. I always thought it was like from like the trees and plants like opening up, getting ready to absorb the water.
Fair enough. I mean, that makes about as much sense as me thinking it's water on the pavement. So, yeah.
Look, unless we have the scientist on the pod, until then we're gonna say allegedly.
Yeah, it's a combination of plants opening up their little pores and pavement smell. We have
Exactly. It's definitely got to be. It's definitely got to be a mixture, and I wonder if that is sort of part of it. Like that smell of the tarmac isn't the rain, but you get used to it. Like like when you like train like a dog or something. Every time like a bell rings, they get fed.
yeah,
It's a bit like that.
not Schrodinger's cat. What is it? Pavlov's dogs. That's it.
Pavlov's dogs.
Yeah, he's the one that did the experiment where he rung a bell every time he fed them and they salivated.
Yeah, because I got and I got that information through watching The Office because that's what Jim does to Dwight. So every time he closes the computer or opens it and it makes the noise, he goes, "Do you want a mint?" And he goes, "Yeah." And then he does it for like a few weeks, and then he ends up like closing his computer. Then you just see Dwight sat opposite at him, and then just put his hand out. And then like Jim just looks at him and goes, "What are you doing, mate?" And he's like, I don't know.
Me and Becky are watching The Office at the US office at the moment, and we got to the episode this lunchtime because I was working from home today, where Michael leaves and Becky cried. properly
Oh,
at the table.
whew. What did you have the song?
No, the episode after the song, where he pretends that he's leaving. Spoiler alert. He pretends that he's
Oh,
leaving the day afterwards, and then he leaves and he gets in the airplane at the end, and Pam sees
it
him.
was. I'm not gonna lie. That one, it was still like upsetting, but like for me, it was the song.
Yeah.
The song, the episode before, just absolutely hits home. You're there like, oh, and definitely when you're a little bit of a nerd like me, and you know that Steve Carell didn't know what they were doing.
Oh, didn't he? Oh,
No, so his reaction is
it's
genuine.
legitimate. Yeah.
Talking about reactions being genuine, another thing that I did see, on Batman: The Dark Knight,
Yeah.
with Heath Ledger as the Joker,
Yeah.
when the Joker goes in to the party they're having at on that top building, and he grabs Rachel by the face and he tells her to look at him.
Yeah.
That was not in the script. So when he and she'd never seen Heath in the makeup before. So when he first grabbed her face, when she looks away, she actually is looking at the director, and then he like pulls her face into him, and I think she can they lock eyes, and she manages to sort of keep it in the scene.
Oh my
So
goodness.
when you do see him sort of like grabbing her face and like her sort of moving and like him not having like a full on grip on the face and stuff, like that was all real.
Jeez, I did not know that. That is terrifying. He was a method actor though, wasn't he?
Yeah,
So
he was.
he,
He amazing actor. Like I remember, I don't know if you remember. Do you remember when we were in class and we watched 10 Things I Hate About You? He was in that.
oh yeah.
He was the guy with curly hair that was like interested in like the main girl.
Yes, yeah, he looks so different in that, didn't he?
Yeah, because it was. I don't think it was like that, and then I think there might have been one in between them. Then I think it was Dark Knight. I could be completely wrong with those dates, but it was something like that.
Ah.
Oh, also, do you want to hear something else funny? Sorry, I'm rambling today. Is oh no, hang on. Is last week when we did the gaming pod.
Yep.
We did like all right numbers, didn't we? And we got like 3 victory royales or something like that.
We did, yeah.
So, anyways,
3 or
looked at
4.
the numbers. I was like, okay, that was quite cool. And so I checked the Instagram to see like who had viewed the story. And it was only when I looked at what I've done, and I put the YouTube link up instead of the Twitch one last week.
Classic
So
Toby blunder.
anyone would have been like, "Why has he put this up?" So this week I'm going to make sure that I'm doing it right.
Yep, fair enough.
Did you watch the Champions League last night? Insane,
I did not.
insane, mate. You need to. City Madrid 3-3, and 3 of the goals, 2 of them from City and 1 of them from Madrid, outrageous, right? Saka's goal against Bayern Munich was insane. Arsenal had an absolute howler at the back for the first goal. Leroy Sané absolutely pelted it like diagonally through our box, and Saliba, he went through like 3 or 4 players, and Saliba ended up taking him out. They had the penalty. By the time Harry Kane got to the ball for the penalty, our goalkeeper was already on his right knee and his right hand. So obviously, Kane just pulled it the other direction.
Yeah.
So that was a bit long. But then our boy Trossard came in, made it 2-2. Now, I know in the chat we've been asked about the Saka penalty. Have you seen the incident yet, Bob?
I have not. No, I haven't seen anything to do about it, to be honest.
If you're
No
if you're able to quickly type, like, don't pull it up on things, we'll probably get done for copyright on it, but quickly type in like the Arsenal thing and just go to like the end of the highlights, and it'll be the last highlight, and let me know if you think that's a penalty. Whilst you're doing that, I can walk through what happened.
Okay.
So ball gets hit through. Saka's running onto it. Okay, Neuer runs out. Saka then pokes it to like the left of him to go to the center of the goal. Neuer's running out and then takes Saka out. Now, the two sides of the argument is Saka did leave his right leg out a little bit. So it looks like he's like looking for the foul.
Yeah.
But if you look at it from the other angle, Neuer's right leg is in front of his left one, and it means that when Saka's going across, that's what trips him up, Neuer's right leg. And if Neuer's right leg wasn't there, he would have gone through and it would have been an open goal.
Yeah, it's just loading now. Arsenal
So
denied last gasp penalty. I'm just gonna weigh in and say we should have had it. To be honest,
I think we should have had it. But there was also another incident that happened whilst you're looking at that. Is there was another incident that happened that won't be on the highlights. Was quite early on in the game. We had a goal kick, and the ref blows the whistle, and then Raya passes it to Gabriel, and then Gabriel just grabs it with his hand, picks the ball up, puts it back on the line, and then takes the goal kick. Now, if you're being really nitty picky, technically that is a penalty, like handball. But obviously, that the refs using common sense, like that didn't alter the game at all. Like that wasn't because Bayern were putting pressure on or anything like that. Like no one was even near them. It was just Gabriel was like, "No, I'm taking the goal kick."
Mm.
So that was, you got to look at it from both sides.
Yeah. I think Arsenal did really well.
Have
Trossard coming
you
off the
seen it now?
bench. No, it's not loading.
Is it not? Is it not loading?
No.
What about you guys in the chat? Pen or no pen? We want to see in the comments, please.
Have you seen Dune, Toby?
I've been in Dune before.
You've been in Dune. you've been in Dune, the book series.
Once every year for a month.
Oh right, I see what you're doing there. I see it.
No, I don't know what Dune is. That's why.
Oh right, no, Dune, like the sand dune.
Oh.
And it's a film with what's his name? Christian Charlemagne, William Charlemagne. What's his?
Mate, I'm terrible.
Timothy Charlemagne, that's his name, and Zendaya. Their film, it's in the cinemas. It's pretty big. It's probably just on my TikTok because I like sci-fi stuff.
My TikTok is talking about football and UFC 300.
Fair. But yeah, no, me and Becky watched that on the weekend. It was pretty good. I would recommend Dune 2 to anyone. Dune 1 is okay. It's a good film. I liked it because I've read the book. Whereas I think not watching it in the cinema and someone that doesn't know anything about it, watching it, you might have to like watch it twice. I think you'd like it, Toby. I do think you'd like Dune.
What's it about?
It's about basically it's space Game of Thrones, but remember the book was written in the 60s, so if anything, George R. Martin.
It's more olden times.
Yeah, it's old. No. It was written in the 1960s, but it's like space Game of Thrones. But it focuses in on the story of Paul Atreides, who is a member of the Atreides family, and sort of shenanigans ensue when his dad, Leto Atreides, is given the planet Arrakis, and he has to swap planets. Basically, in Game of Thrones, it'd be the equivalent of like swapping castles with someone.
That sounds so weird. Why did they do that?
Well, that's the question. Why? Why did they do that? And there's a whole story behind that. And I think you'd like it because it's
maybe
cool.
I might give it a go.
There's a good bit of betrayal. It's
gotta love a bit of betrayal in a movie.
And it's set in the universe where people have personal shields. So basically guns don't work because the shield stops anything moving too fast from hitting you. It's like a shield in front of you. but you can touch people still. So what people have to do is, even though they're in space and they have sci-fi stuff, everyone has to use swords and knives to kill people because other people are like bulletproof, basically. So you've got to like run up and stab someone in the face to kill them.
Well, I'll definitely have a look. I'll definitely have a look at it because I'm gonna have to find a little bit more out about this.
Yeah, I've given you a very brief summary. I've read.
I feel like you've confused me more on it.
Well, no, it's basically space Game of Thrones. Imagine Game of Thrones, but rather than like Casterly Rock, it's like a planet. It's basically
Right.
that. It's basically that. But yeah,
Basically, Castle Rock is on a planet.
yeah, and the Vale of Arryn would be like its own planet as well. So like the lords and ladies are basically the governments of these planets, and then there's an emperor who rules over everyone. And there's like he has his own private army of Sardaukar who are like his fanatical legion of space criminals. It's yeah, I definitely recommend watching it. Do you want to hear my rating for Dune 2 in the cinema? I give it
Yeah.
a. I started saying it without even hearing you say yeah. No.
Yeah. We
I was
meant to
ready for the
say,
no.
let me tell you my rating.
I'm gonna give it a 9.3 out of 10.
9.3.
Yeah, it's pretty insane, the second film. I think you'd enjoy the second film, as long as you watch the first, obviously, but I think you'd just enjoy the second film overall. It's just a cool film.
Yeah. Well, I'll definitely. Yeah. I'll give it a watch. But I am terrible with that. I tell people I'm going to watch it and I don't.
I'll make sure. Don't worry. Don't worry, viewer. I will make sure he
I'll just block you.
watches it.
I'll just chat with you every time for the pod, but other than that, blocked me.
So, Toby, you wanted to talk about our football predictions that we made in a separate video that you can watch now.
Yeah. So we got our Premier League video out on YouTube on the brosBTalking. It's the same as our Twitch name. And it's brosBT for Bobby Toby, and then ALKING. Now the reason I spell that is because if I can spell something, I do it. You know, I'm showing off. But no, we predicted the Premier League. Me, you, and Reece. We were predicting Arsenal's, Liverpool, and City's remaining games.
Yep.
We did this on the international break. Now, since we've done that, I believe there's been 2 games.
Yes.
Now, it's but 2 or 3 games. Now we've got every prediction right, but we had Liverpool beating United at Old Trafford. But I did make an argument and a case for United to get a draw. And then after we did that video, 2 days later, they played them in the FA Cup at Old Trafford and beat them 4-3. And then the game in the league ended 2-2.
Mm.
So, but we, as a podcast, we did predict that. But, Bob, what I was thinking is because I won't spoil the video, but because all the points are so close, any results that we get different will change the outcome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's going to be so close. I'm trying to think. We do have a few mad results in there that you guys might disagree with.
Yeah, but look, rage baiting is the best way to get engagement on YouTube. I was thinking about this. I watched a video on it, and then I was thinking about it. We should have named the Ngannou AJ fight Ngannou to win. We should have put that in the title because that would have drawn more people to watch it because they would have thought either yeah or no way. You know what I mean? We should have
Yeah, no.
clickbaited it.
To be fair,
I,
but I don't want to clickbait anyone.
no, I know, but you did in the video. You did say Ngannou to win, so it wouldn't mean totally clickbait.
Do you know what? That is something that we might need to do at some point. Do you want to do that now?
Do what?
We could do a quick little review of our predictions.
Yeah, yeah, we can do that now.
Because I know that I remember my prediction and I got it hella wrong. I predicted a 7th round knockout for Ningani. So let that settle in for a second.
Yeah, that's pretty tough. I predicted that AJ would win on decision, but
Because you gave a big speech to get you were like, they just don't get knocked out. You got to understand this too.
yeah, like they're good at avoiding being knocked out, the top boxers. It's like the difference between them and a good journeyman is that they're really good at just avoiding being punched in the head. That's why they're the top guy. But but
And
yeah,
it
no one expect.
hell of the shots that he caught him with as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, AJ could knock out like a rhino, maybe not a
I
rhino.
So if it becomes, obviously we'd do a video on this if the fight comes to actually comes through. But AJ v Fury. First question is, who do you want to win in that fight? Second question, who do you think's going to win in that fight? Is that the same answer? For me, it's the same answer. I think I want AJ, and I think AJ.
I am the same, but just to be a
Now
different.
you could agree with me. You don't have to always go opposite.
No, I'm gonna say AJ. I want to win, but I reckon Fury will win.
Well, Fury's got Usyk coming up, and I'm just not really that interested in it at all. I think the size difference is just so much. It's just not going to be a fun fight to watch.
Mm,
Because all Usyk has to do is sort of lean back and down, and then how the hell Fury meant to get all the way down there to punch in? And then if Fury wants to get away, all he has to do is sort of lean back and up.
yeah, yeah,
So it's like, you can't hit me, I can't hit you.
yeah,
So I don't know. Don't get me wrong. Like, Usyk's an amazing fighter, and so is Fury. So I guess it's still got the chance of being an epic fight. But styles make fights, and I don't think that those two styles, with their body shapes, frames, how they fight, all of that, I just don't think that that equals too much to a thing. But the thing is that like Tyson Fury is like he's suffered like with mental health, like Bear, and
yeah,
like I do sort of respect him from the fact of how he went from like wanting to like kill himself to turning it around and getting back in the gym, and I think he fed off people not believing in him,
yeah,
and I think that now that it's sort of turned that there are people like myself that have gone the other way because and my problem is that he was very much like a man of his word, but then but then he he's not a man of his word, right? And this is where I think it gets a little bit interesting is he's definitely got bipolar, right?
yeah,
And even says that, yeah. And then like even I think like even his wife has said there's like two different furies that you get,
yeah,
so two different Tysons that you get, and it just depends on which one wakes up. And then I start to think to myself, I'm there like, so if he is having like a bad day or whatever, can you then hold him accountable for what he's saying? Like, does that mean he's not a man of his word if he's not, if he's chatting shit when he's being like that?
yeah. It's a
Because you've
complicated
got to be
question, isn't it?
accountable.
Yeah, you. The thing is, the way I see it is, if he's actively seeking help and trying to be better, then you've got to cut him the slack. But if his own wife is telling him that some days you're a massive dick.
But that's bipolar, bro.
I do understand that obviously you can't help it to the same degree someone without bipolar can help it. But at the same time, as an adult, you have to be accountable for these things. And really, thoughts can only count for so much. And as long as you're trying to fix and work with others and yourself, that is enough for me. At the same time, if you're not doing that and you're not trying to improve yourself, as long as he's trying to work towards minimizing the effect he has on the people around him, I'd give him a pass. But obviously, if you know that if you've been diagnosed with bipolar and you're not making any sort of attempt to help the people around you deal with it, then you've got to be accountable in some respect, even though I understand you can't help it explicitly.
So okay, and I agree with everything you said there. So is he accountable for what he says though? So for example, him saying that he doesn't care about the money and stuff, right?
Right.
And then but then refusing to do deals because there's not enough money involved. How does that make sense?
I'd kind of say that that's almost just everyone that's rich, though. Like everyone, you could ask any celebrity, and they'd probably tell you, "Oh, I don't care about the money." And then you're like, "Well, why don't you turn up to my brother's birthday and do this for free?" And they'll be like, "No chance, mate." And you're like, "Well, there you go," sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
no, but well, 100%. Like, but then I think that that should be like outed for like if people are saying they're going to do something for free and then making people pay for it. I think it's just a bit.
yeah, yeah. I think what it is in the age of the internet. So in the past, celebrities could kind of just say these things and their private lives and stuff. They weren't as filmed as often, and like paparazzi followed them around and took pictures of them, but they weren't like always online. Whereas nowadays, I make a comment saying, "And the brosBTalking podcast will never be about the money," and I just say that as like a thing, as me and you were joking about being sponsored by like North Korea or something, then maybe one of our few but brave and loyal fans would maybe say in the future if we did have a sponsorship, "Well, I thought you said you weren't about the money," and I'd be a bit like, "Well, I was talking about North Korea sponsoring us." No, I wasn't taking it seriously. It's kind of like one of those things where it's difficult to get like a genuine view on people.
But okay, but that is a throwaway comment. People can say a throwaway comment that I'm not holding him accountable for that, but I'm saying he's literally looking down the camera and all his message was like a minute message of like I'll fight you anywhere, anytime. Doesn't matter the price, I'll batter you. You're just a bodybuilder, and it's like, and he just doesn't give him any props at all,
Yeah.
and then like gives props to people that are worse than him, and it's like, well, how can you do that? How can you say that that guy's all this, that, and the other when AJ's better than him? And then say AJ is sort of shit. But yeah, but like but like I said, like with Tyson, he was always sort of a bit of an inspiration for me, like in the sense of the way that he sort of like came back from like that mental health struggle.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He has worked
Uh,
hard.
but and like being able to to like go and do that. Um, do you reckon like do you reckon mental health gets like worse or better as you get older?
Um,
So I think there's got to be a point where like if we're on a graph, I think it would go up, 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 down, and then maybe go a little up and down between like 20 and like 40,
yeah.
and then I think after 40 you'd either see a steady incline up or a steady incline down.
The way I see it, it's so situational because humans are social creatures, so we take a lot in from like what's happening around us. And the thing is, so everyone has a rough time when they're teenagers, mostly because their brain is genuinely developing and chemicals and neuron connections in their brains aren't quite right yet, and they're only experiencing these sort of things for the first time ever, and that means that they kind of have a sort of negative feedback loop where they either feel like they don't fit in, or they don't know how they can fit in, or they feel like sudden bursts of anger, or they feel like everyone's paying a lot of attention to them. And those are just things that were our brains trying to sort themselves out and become adult brains from children brains. But then when you level out a bit, once you're older than, like, I think it's 25, your brain stops developing, or late 20s anyway. You Then it's totally situational. Like, I might, if I lost all my friends and lost Becky, my mental health would dip massively.
Sorry, I'm more okay. Let's make it like a little bit more like a specific thing, because as you said, it all depends on the situations, and we can only talk about our own experiences and experiences from people we know that have shared their experiences with us.
Yeah.
Would you say for you, so at the age of, okay, so would you say that your mental health has been better from the ages like 22 to 25 rather than from like 19 to 22?
Uh,
Or would you say it's the other way the other way around? Or would you say it's stayed the same?
I think personally, although as Toby knew me as a teenager, I was quite good when I was around friends and people. I didn't have the best time, but then I definitely didn't have the worst. It's difficult to judge because obviously I've only lived my life, but
I think I think you've always been somebody that, like, I think this is actually something that you struggle with, is that like whenever I think you've actually gone through like shit, there's been times that, like, I know there's been times before where like I'm like, hang on, but like why didn't you say something? You're like, well, when that was happening, you were going through that and that, so I didn't want to complain about this. And then but like, it's like I said to you like a million times, like it's, something's bothering you, but it's like it's bothering you. Like, if, for example, say if there's somebody who's had a really traumatic life, yeah,
yeah,
and then they meet somebody who they've had nothing happen to them, bad happen to them whatsoever. Like, all their family's happy and healthy, they're quite good money wise, everything, really happy life, yeah.
yeah,
And then let's say that they have lots of pets and animals, and let's say that they have a hamster, and then their hamster dies.
yeah,
Now, the person that's gone through a traumatic experience of maybe losing a friend or a family member or something like that happening goes like, "What are you on about? Like, how can you be that, like, I know you're upset." And let's say that they've had a hamster die as well, and they're like, I know you're upset, but like there's only like it's a hamster. But to that other person, that is the most upsetting thing to happen to them. So even though it may not be as severe, because that's the biggest thing that's happened to them, it is a massive thing.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. They have
And
like
I
the
and I
frame.
think that is something to always like remember. Like, if you're there, like, well, it's like when you're younger, if you'd be there like, oh, like you complain to your mum, and then be like, oh, well, they'll be like, oh, well, you got it better than some people, and then you're like, well, yeah, I do, but that's not really relevant to the conversation we're having.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Do you know what I mean? Because like the way I see it is, no matter what you do, there's always someone better or worse than you. So having that narrative is a bit pointless to me, because I can do that anywhere. Like, I could go for a run right now and then go, huh, I did that like 5 minutes faster than like probably thousands of people could.
yeah,
But I could look at the other way around and go, there's thousands of people that did that 5 minutes faster than me.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like, unless you're like the best in the world, and even then, you're only the best in the world for that very short period of time.
yeah, exactly. And
So I sorry, carry on.
I know I was going to say, and if you're the best in the world, you've probably dedicated a lot of time to training and might not have a family, or might
It,
not
well, you
have
definitely
friends.
missed out on some experiences.
Yeah,
There's no doubt about it. And I think, but that sort of life. Like, you're going to miss out on different experiences from the different paths that you take.
yeah,
And there's like, no matter what situation you're in, there's pros and cons. Like, me and you could both talk about like our situations in our lives, and we could both probably give you a list of like things that are pros and cons list. Um, but I think that if you had two people's pros and cons list, just because somebody else's cons list may be worse, doesn't mean that the other person's isn't as important.
yeah,
And I think that is a real hard one, because I think lots of people disagree with me and go, well, no, if somebody's like dealing with somebody, somebody's dealing with like somebody who's died, they don't want to deal with somebody who's having problems at work or at uni or something like that. And it's like, yeah, but if that's what's going on in their life, that's what they're sitting thinking about, and that's their future and whatever. And I think that I think there is definitely like, because I'm very much like, talk to people if you are like feeling sad, but I hate it when it almost becomes like a competition where somebody's like, oh well, I've had this and this, and it's and then if you go to see someone, they're like, oh, it's like, is that all that you've had, or you're lucky or something like that. And like, I don't, I think we've all said it at one point, and I've definitely been guilty of saying, oh, like you're lucky. But I think that people should definitely refrain from saying that, because you actually have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And it's like Bobby will probably like agree to this, is that when we're out and about, I'm probably like one of the loudest and like always like joking about and trying to smile, but I'm probably I'm probably the person in our friendship group that struggles the most with dealing with my emotions.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
or or the I hang on, let me rephrase that. I'm definitely the most emotional person in the group.
no, I'm gonna say Matt Goldsmith. Goldie.
Goldie.
He's the most emotional. He cries all the time. But Toby, how would you say that you're? So the way I'd say mine probably was a slow decrease from about 13, but then it kind of increased again at 18, dipped massively during first year uni, went up massively during second and third year, dipped a bit between my masters, increased during my masters, and then dipped until I moved in with Becky. And now I'd say I'm pretty steady at the moment, I think.
Well, that's good to hear. And like, you got to remember is that like what you've been doing is very like stressful. Like, you've been buying a house. They say like moving house. Like, I know you didn't have to like have a moving date, because you were renting the place before you bought it, but it was a really big decision. You worked like, you and Becky both worked really hard to get that. And yeah, and it is, and I think you've always been like, because I'm always a bit up in the clouds, and you've always been able to ground me a lot. And I think that we always work quite well in that. Like, it's like, for example, we were talking about our FPL video, and you're like, well, it might not. And I'm like, well, it could do really, really well. And it's there, like, and I think we both, that you do good at going, right, Toby, lower your expectations, and then I'm quite good at sometimes being there, like, oh, not that you're a negative person. I'm not trying to say that at all.
No, no, I know what you mean. I think as well though, because that comes from a fear of disappointment. Like I feel quite sad when things don't go my way, and then so I feel sad when I feel like that happens to people around me. I worry about people being disappointed around me. I think it's one of the worst things I can imagine happening is people
I
being disappointed. Not about me specifically. It can be
Well,
about me,
you can
but
be disappointed in many ways. You can be angry, disappointed, sad, disappointed. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
it can come in many forms.
So I want people around me to almost see things in a realistic light. And even compared to Becky, I'm an optimist, but because she hates it even more than me, and she'll often do the old assume the worst, and then basically either through fate or luck it doesn't happen, or because you've
Do,
said it like sod's law, or something better happens and you can feel good about that.
do, do you know what do you know what I think I like, and I think makes it work with like friendship like ours, is that we don't like, obviously, as we said, we do try and pull each other to be, you try and pull me to be a bit more realistic, I try and pull you to go like, like believing like the impossible.
Mm.
But what I like is that we don't ever try and like change it. I wouldn't like, it wouldn't work if you were all of a sudden being like the same as me, or I all of a sudden, like, because if I become realistic, like, you and Reece always do it. Like, I'm always really, really optimistic. But if I'm sad, we switch roles.
Yeah, well, that's the
And then
thing,
you're
yeah.
there like, dude, come on now, you know that's not true. And you're like, come on, you're usually so up in the skies. We're trying to just get you back level. Like, how have you gone all the way down there? Like, what's going on? But regarding to like your question, sort of like how I've sort of dealt with it, like I've definitely like I'm still sort of I'm still dealing with like stuff now, and I think the important thing is that like yeah, I've talked about stuff, but not to have the same conversation over and over again. Like I've had like you know had like stuff happen and then gone right, okay, dealt with like you had maybe a week of going right processing the whole situation, but then after that, just like getting on with it.
Mm.
And I think like staying active as well is like really important. Like me before I go to football, I always like, oh, do I really want to go? Like, I'll start feeling a bit ill or something. Like, all of a sudden, my ankle will start feeling a bit sore or something, and it's like it's just sort of nerves, and like it seems. But then once I'm there, like, there's nothing to be nervous about. Like, I'm there with all the boys playing football, it's a good laugh, and I enjoy it. But
Yeah, it's one of those that physical fitness is definitely one thing that keeps my mental health steady. It's if I don't exercise for very long, I start to feel more agitated in life in general, and then you feel bad because you feel like you haven't actually done anything. As a sort of shorter man with a more of like a dwarven build, I put on fat quite easily, and it doesn't help me. I feel more agitated if I don't work out, and I also do put on muscle, but also fat quite quickly. So, so I feel the effects ramping up, and I think, oh God. So regular exercise is something that helps me quite a lot, I find.
well, in a weird way, that might sort of be like a blessing in disguise. It almost keeps you active.
Exactly, exactly. And I've never gotten. I think the heaviest I've been is 90 kg, and I wasn't like fat. People wouldn't look at me and go, "Oh, he's fat," but I'm down to 84 kg now.
I was
So
that when you had long hair?
yes, yeah,
Because I was like, I was there like, I don't know if it's the hair that's making Bobby look bigger. Because like, but you gotta remember, I've known like we've been best mates. Like me and you can tell, like you can tell, you can be like, right, Toby, you've been working out, or right, Toby, you quit the gym again.
yeah, yeah,
But it's never I quit the gym. Like it's never I go, oh, I'm quitting. Like it's almost I forget. Like I have a rest day and I just
yeah.
don't get back.
3 weeks later, Toby's like, "Oh shit."
Like me and you, we were doing these challenges, and I was like keeping up with them. And I can't lie, I haven't been on a run in a while. I've definitely like stopped doing as much like stuff, like working out as much. But I'm trying to get back into it. But I've been broke, so I'm there like I don't have like that much like food, so I'm there like I can't really go and put on weight and like or train and stuff because I'll just die.
Yeah. Money is a big one,
Yeah, like
as
if
well.
you have money, you can be. It's so much easier to be healthier when you don't have money. But like this, how they just keep the rich rich and the poor poorer, and the healthy healthier, and the unhealthy get unhealthier.
Yeah. Well,
What what
exactly.
words of wisdom from from the bros be talking, but no, but but like what I would say on my sort of final bit like about with mental health is definitely reach out and talk to people. But if somebody does mention something to you, try and not like and sort of refer it back to a situation about you.
Yeah.
Um, and that's something that we all do, and that's something that I've definitely tried to stop doing as much. It's like um when somebody tells me something, I go, oh, okay. Like it was like my little brother's telling me something. Instead of being like, oh, I know exactly what it's like. I used to be your age as well, and go along with it. Like, oh, cool. Like, no way, and like actually listen to like what they're saying, and like because he'll be talking about all the drama going on with his friends, and we all know that like in a few years that it's not even going to matter. He'll probably be having a pint with the person he doesn't like.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the time, you know, it's a massive deal to you. And I remember how much I was invested in whatever girl I fancied that week at school.
Toby would have done a Sir Christian Cole if, he was doing that almost every week. I was talking him down almost
That
every
is
week.
so true. I would like create a love triangle that was not a love triangle. There'd been a love story, and I'd just pop in, and I'll be like, let's make it a little triangle, and then I'll be like, oh no, she picked him. It's like, Toby, they were in a relationship. I'm like, I thought, like, I'm not gonna. We won't mention names, but do you remember? Do you remember the girl when we were in school? The sprinter girlfriend.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, good times.
Yeah, it was
I
carnage.
basically got my first like girlfriend because she was a sprinter and she wanted to race me, and then I tried to pretend I could beat her with my eyes closed, and she was like, "Oh, go on then," and I went to do it, and probably about 30 meters in, I sort of like opened my eyes a little bit, and I realised that I'd just done like a big U,
You tried
and
to
that
race
she
her
was
with
at
your
the
eyes
finish
closed.
line.
It's a classic. That is. It was very. The storylines, the lore back then was you were fully invested. We were all fully invested. If I talked to 14-year-old Bobby, he'd be like, "Fucking Toby and this girl, and then this girl as well, and this girl," and I'd be like, "Mate, you're not even gonna know any of these women." When you're 25, you're not going to recognize them on the
And I was
street.
about to say, the ones that you do know that are about, are never the ones you think that are going to be there and about.
No, exactly.
So, at being single, bro, like, I'm still like that. I'm sort of like, you go meet, I'll be like, oh, I've met somebody. You'll be like, right, what's going on? And it is that because you don't know. Because I think some people when they go to meet somebody, they're like, oh, this has to be the be all or end all. But like, you know, sometimes you just sort of got to go with the flow. Maybe like date a little bit, and you got to date the wrong people sometimes to find the right person. Like people that get into a relationship straight away with the first person that like shows them interest or is nice to them, and they wonder why it doesn't work out. Like you should only be with somebody that actually like fully connects, and yeah, and someone you can be yourself around. But look, I have droned on a little bit. Is there anything else you had to say on that?
I'd just say, just building on your point about talking to other people and trying not to like overpower their feelings. It's important to recognize as well, guys, we connect in slightly different ways. Of course, sometimes
It's like, well,
and
go
girls
on like
too as well. But
sorry, I was just about to say, like, we can only sort of like talk from like we can understand from a girl's perspective, but we can only talk from a guy's perspective because that's our perspective.
yeah,
And they said like girls do find it easier to like talk about their feelings and stuff. But like, let's be honest, boys, if you go on like you go play COD with the boys or Fortnite or Fall Guys or Among Us. You play a video game with your mates, yeah. That little bit of interaction is actually good, and like having your mates being able to and having a good balance of being able to have a catch up and stuff like that, but also be able to joke around and laugh and do you know what I mean? Because
exactly. Yeah.
yeah, but yes, sorry to sort of like jump on your point there.
No. You're right. It's basically just doesn't have to be a big deep conversation. If you haven't talked to a guy in a while that you might be worried about, or you just here's your cue, listener, to message that person you haven't talked to in a while and just say, hey, how's it going, man? Was just thinking of you. And
Yeah, because like every single time somebody goes, oh, like every single time, but we always like, oh, sorry, man. And what do we always say? No worries, bro. Like it's all good. Like I think as guys, we sort of go, oh shit, I haven't really messaged him in a while. But like, let's be honest, boys. Like, it's we don't mind in the sense of like it's fine. Like, but it doesn't mean like don't message or call someone. I don't know. And but yeah. I we are not qualified for anyone wondering.
Yep, seek professional help if you are struggling with mental health. I will put up on the edit maybe a phone number and maybe do a link if
Yeah,
you're worried about
I was about
anyone.
to say I can talk to you after the stream, and we can get some for the video going up on YouTube. We'll put something in there to what people can do if they are feeling down, and if you are sort of feeling lonely and you want people to, you know, play games and play games with, come join the channel. We play Fortnite, we play Fall Guys, Among Us, hopefully cards, yeah, anything that's sort of cross-platform, because me and Bobby, the universe would explode if we had the same console.
Yeah, we're star-crossed lovers, really. We're always kept apart by the universe.
Well, thank you very much for listening, and we hope to see you again here soon.
Thanks for listening. Bye.